Abidin, and you're watching Dante's
Boxing Nation.
Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Now, I've been telling you guys for the longest, one of the main things I really like about Turki Al-Sheikh is the fact that he is not a racist, which is extremely rare to see in the sport of boxing, especially when it comes to the position that Turki Al-Sheikh is in. Now, I don't agree with every single thing that Turki does, but he clearly does not have an American old media narrative. It's really crazy when you think about the fact that Turki Al-Sheikh, he often says things that you would expect to hear from an American, at least if America wasn't the most racist society. But unfortunately, America is probably the most racist society in the world. And this is one of the reasons why when that torch was passed down from Floyd Mayweather to Andre Ward and then Terrence Crawford, for the last 10 years, America's old media has desperately been trying to replace Terrence Crawford with a non-black foreigner when it comes to the #1 position. Crawford has been on top for about 7 or 8 years, and they tried to replace him with so many fighters, and every time one of those fighters lose, then they try to replace Crawford with another fighter. First it was Chocolatito Gonzalez, then he loses, then they say Lomachenko is over Crawford, then Lomachenko loses, then they say Canelo is over Crawford, then Canelo Alvarez loses. After that they put Inoue over Crawford, and then they put Usyk over Crawford. And this even surprised Turki Al-Sheikh because he came out and he spoke on this. He said this about a year ago. He said, I don't know what's going on over there in America, but Terrence Crawford is clearly the best fighter in the world, which is the reason why I don't understand why Turki is allowing his own company, Ring Magazine, to put other fighters above Terrence Crawford on a pound-for-pound list right now. But anyway, Turki Al-Sheikh in general, he thinks more like a boxing fan than a race fan. Here's something that he said that really stunned the race fans. Turki said he believes that if we had a black heavyweight, the sport of boxing would be in a different place, meaning the sport would be even bigger right now.
I think the boxing will be in different place if we have black heavyweight champion. I don't like to talk about religion or colors, but if we want to say about something, I think the boxing will be in different place if we have black heavyweight champion. This is what use of all of us from the 60 and the 70 living and seeing in the time of Muhammad Ali.
The only reason why it sounds so amazing to hear Turki say this is because it's almost foreign to hear someone say something logical that actually makes sense and is true, because America's old media is constantly trying to mislead and whitewash boxing fans. Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson are the biggest names, the most iconic names in heavyweight history. Numerically, in terms of revenue, they were the most watched heavyweights in the history of the sport. But just when it comes to black star power in general, we already know the NBA wouldn't be what it is without black athletes. The NFL, even the UFC is suffering right now because John Jones is towards the end of his career. There's no more Anderson Silva, no more Rampage. Anderson Silva, John Jones, they are the Michael Jordans, the LeBron James of the sport. You know, Turki Al-Sheikh, he mentioned the Muhammad Ali era, and his vision is to bring that type of era back with a new Muhammad Ali. That's what Turki wants to see. And it's funny because the most racist boxing fans, they always try to justify their racism by saying, hey, well, you know, my favorite fighter is Muhammad Ali, so I'm not a racist. They hate every single black fighter that fights today, but they want us to believe that Muhammad Ali was their favorite fighter. A guy who moved around the ring, floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee. A Muslim who spoke out against racism. And that's the only black fighter you claim that you were ever a fan of. Okay, well, if that's the case, you guys should all agree with what Turki Al-Sheikh is saying right now when he says that the sport needs a black heavyweight, something like a Muhammad Ali. The truth is, social media has completely changed the complexion of the sport. This is the reason why pound for pound lists are a joke now. You can't even take them serious. Back before the emergence of social media, we had real legitimate pound for pound lists that you could really follow. But now with social media, old media has completely overwhelmed the boxing world with just lists of fighters that they like. It's a favorites list. Matter of fact, when Turki Al-Sheikh came out and he said, I don't know what's going on in America, but Crawford is clearly the best fighter in the world. Dan Rafael actually responded to Turki and he said, well, in America, Turki, everyone just has a different opinion. So he was kind of admitting that once again, it's not a legitimate pound for pound list. It's just an opinion. An opinion basically means who you prefer to put at the top. In other words, who's your favorite. But in terms of seeing another black heavyweight superstar today, if there is going to be one in the near future, he's most likely going to come from the UK and not America, because in America, all the heavyweights are playing basketball and football. But in the UK, you do have two heavyweights right now that are looking real special, at least so far. That's Fabio Wardley and Moses Itama. Moses is a 20-year-old knockout artist. In fact, he was trying to break Mike Tyson's record by becoming the youngest heavyweight champion ever. But that's not going to happen because he's not going to get a title shot for at least a year from now if he's lucky. But like Mike Tyson, Moses, he's been knocking all of his opponents out early, even when he stepped up in competition. Same thing with Fabio Wardley. Fabio, he actually got into the sport late, but he is a natural. He's been knocking out really good undefeated prospects like David Adeleo and Clark Frazier. And to Turki Al-Sheikh's point, we've seen UK fighters like Anthony Joshua fill up arenas. When he fought Daniel Dubois, a record-breaking 98,000 fans packed the arena to watch that fight. And this is what Turki Al-Sheikh is talking about. If Moses Itama rises to the top and becomes a heavyweight champion, he's going to fill up arenas the exact same way Anthony Joshua did. And the craziest thing is Anthony Joshua was filling up arenas like that while he was towards the end of his career. So Moses Itama, he could actually be even a bigger star than an Anthony Joshua. But once again, you know, with the heavyweight division, one punch definitely changes everything. So we don't know if he's going to make it that far. But if he does, this is what we can look forward to in the future. With that being said, I'm going to wrap this video up. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, fever blisters, diabetic ulcers, this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called LO Deki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to lodeki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram. Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com.